Colorado Real Estate Exam Part 2 2025, 100 questions with explained answers. Question 1. How do you determine the property taxes for a specific property? Multiply the assessed value by the tax rate. Subtract exemptions from the assessed value. Divide the market value by the millage rate. Add the appraised value and the assessed value. Property taxes are calculated using the formula assessed value times tax rate equals property tax. The assessed value is a percentage of the market value determined by a public tax assessor for the purpose of distributing the tax burden among property owners. Question 2. A lot, 85x190 and 55.75x120, sold at $2/SQFT. What is the broker's 8% commission? $3,654.40, $828, $9,680, $11,528. Calculation Area 1, 85*190 equals 16,150. Area 2, 55.75*120 equals 6,690. Total area equals 22,840 square feet. Total sale price equals $22,840 $2 equals $45,680. Commission equals $45,680 0.08 equals $3,654.40. Question 3. In which type of financing can negative amortization occur? Fixed rate mortgage, adjustable rate mortgage, conventional mortgage, FHA loan. Negative amortization occurs when the monthly payment is insufficient to cover the interest due. The unpaid interest is added to the loan balance, meaning the borrower owes more money than they did the previous month. This is a potential risk in certain adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs. Question 4. What is the primary characteristic of a variable rate mortgage? Fixed interest rate throughout the loan term. Ability to make extra principal payments. Monthly payment remains constant. Interest rate fluctuates based on market conditions. The primary characteristic of a variable rate, or adjustable rate, mortgage is that the interest rate adjusts periodically. This adjustment is typically based on an objective economic index, such as the prime rate or treasury bill rate, causing the borrower's payment to change over time. Question 5. What is the term for the right of a water company to lay and maintain water mains along a lot? Water easement, water servitude, water lien, water encroachment. A water easement is a non-possessory right to use another's land for a specific purpose. It is typically an easement in gross, which belongs to a utility entity rather than a neighboring parcel of land, allowing access for essential public infrastructure. Question 6. What does the covenant of season, or season, entail in a property deed? Guarantee of clear title, right to possess the property, obligation to pay property taxes, maintenance of physical condition. The covenant of season is the grantor's promise that they actually own the property, they are seized of the estate, and have the full legal right to transfer it. If the grantor does not actually have legal title at the time of transfer, they have breached this covenant. Question 7. If a legal right is not asserted within a reasonable time frame, what may a court determine? Estoppel, lien, adverse possession, abandonment. Under the legal doctrine of laches, failing to assert a right within a reasonable period can lead a court to determine that the right has been abandoned or waived. This prevents parties from bringing old claims that might unfairly surprise or harm another party. Question 8. A landlord selling his property collected June rent from 5 tenants, 2 at $345, 3 at $425. Total is $1,965, $2,145, $2,135, $2,115. Calculation, $2*345 plus $3*425 equals $690 plus $1,275 equals $1,965. In a property sale, this total collected rent would then be prorated at closing based on the exact day the new owner takes possession of the property. Question 9. Which of the following is not a function of FNMA, Fannie Mae? Purchasing mortgage loans, securitizing mortgages, providing mortgage insurance, regulating mortgage interest rates. Fannie Mae's functions include buying loans, packaging them into securities, MBS, and providing insurance. However, it does not regulate interest rates. Mortgage interest rates are determined by market forces and the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. Question 10. Which of the following best describes the economic characteristics of land? Demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, situs. Scarcity, situs, immobility, utility, demand. Situs, transferability, demand, immobility. Indestructibility, demand, non-homogeneous, situs. The 5 economic characteristics of land are demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, and situs, location preference. These factors determine the market value of the land, whereas physical characteristics, immobility, indestructibility, describe the land's nature. Question 11. Kevin is leasing a storefront. Items he attaches to use for his business, ovens, coolers, are property of the owner. Trade fixtures, chattels, real property. Trade fixtures are items and equipment used to conduct a specific business. Unlike residential fixtures, trade fixtures remain the personal property of the tenant and must be removed by the tenant before the lease expires, provided the property is restored. Question 12. What does it indicate when a borrower makes monthly loan payments of $612 on an amortized loan? Interest-only loan, negative amortization, fully amortized loan, balloon payment loan. On a fully amortized loan, the monthly payment includes both principal and interest. By the end of the loan term, these regular payments will have reduced the loan balance to zero, meaning the debt is completely repaid without a large final payment. Question 13. Which is not a characteristic of an independent contractor relationship with a broker? Employee benefits provided, flexible work schedule, payment on a commission basis, control over work methods. Independent contractors are responsible for their own taxes and do not receive employee benefits, like health insurance or paid leave. While the broker can control what is done, the result, the agent has autonomy over how the work is performed. Question 14. If a monthly mortgage payment is $1,412 and the interest rate is 11.5%, what is the principal? $147,399.13. $16,201.65, $18,500, $210,230. Calculation: $1,412 * 12 equals $16,944. Annual interest: $16,944 / 0.115. Rate equals $147,399.13. This uses the interest T-bar formula, interest/rate equals principal. Question 15. What type of covenants are typically included in general warranty deeds? Season, quiet enjoyment, and further assurance. Redemption, encumbrance, and merger. Acceleration, estoppel, and subordination. Warranty, breach, and disclaimer. A general warranty deed provides the highest protection. It includes the covenant of season, ownership, quiet enjoyment, protection from third-party claims, and further assurance. Grantor will perform any acts needed to fix title defects. Question 16. An additional individual who is both obligated on a loan and is on the property title is a agent party, partner, borrower in trust, co-borrower. A co-borrower is a person added to a loan who becomes equally obligated to repay the debt. Because they are also on the title, they have a legal ownership interest in the property being used as collateral for the loan. Question 17. Does an agent have to disclose to customers that a property was once used as a dump site? No, the seller is responsible. No, they are not clients. Yes, the agent must disclose. No, buyers are responsible. Real estate agents have a legal and ethical obligation to disclose material facts regarding environmental hazards, like a former dump site, to all parties, including both clients, those they represent, and customers, the other side. Question 18. What are the practical essentials required for a valid real estate contract? Offers/acceptance, consideration, and legal purpose. Written form, notarization, and witnesses. Clear title, property survey, and inspections. Pre-approval, disclosure, and appraisal. To form a valid contract, there must be 1. Offer and acceptance, mutual assent. 2. Consideration, something of value, usually money. 3. Competent parties. And 4. Legal purpose, it cannot be for something illegal. Question 19. Which statement is true regarding real estate sales contracts? They are binding only if on specific forms. Oral agreements are sufficient. They must be signed by both parties to be valid. Verbal offers are legally binding. Under the Statute of Frauds, contracts for the sale of real estate must be in writing and signed by both the buyer and the seller to be enforceable. A signature provides clear evidence of mutual consent to all the terms in the agreement. Question 20. A listing agreement in writing creates which form of agency? Negligent agency, implied agency, express agency, ostensible agency. Express agency is created when the principal and the agent specifically state their intentions in an agreement. A written listing contract is an express document that outlines the broker's authority to act on behalf of the seller. Question 21. A deed restriction prohibiting property transfer to a member of a protected class is legal, void and unenforceable, valid in court, standard practice. Discriminatory covenants, example restrictions based on race or religion, violate the Fair Housing Act and the 14th Amendment. Such clauses are legally void, meaning they have no legal force and cannot be enforced by any court. Question 22. The 3-day right of rescission under Regulation Z, TILA, applies to which situation? Commercial real estate transactions, refinancing a mortgage, purchase of a primary residence, sale of a rental property. Regulation Z provides a cooling-off period for consumers who are refinancing their primary home or taking out a home equity loan. It does not apply to the initial purchase mortgage used to buy the home. Question 23. Equal opportunity to select houses regardless of race, color, or religion is found in the Federal Anti-Discrimination Act, State Fair Housing Act, Uniform Commercial Code, Federal Fair Housing Law. The Federal Fair Housing Law, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, protects individuals from discrimination in the sale, rental, or financing of housing based on protected classes such as race, color, religion, and national origin. Question 24. In a township, what does Section 11 represent? A unit of land measuring 1 square mile. The designated commercial area. A public park or recreational area. A local government administrative division. The government survey system divides land into townships. Each township contains 36 sections. Each section is 1 mile by 1 mile, which equals 1 square mile or 640 acres. Section 11 is just one of these units. Question 25. If an appraiser calculates land value and then adds improvement value, they are using the cost approach, market approach, income approach, sales comparison approach. The cost approach, or replacement cost approach, estimates value by calculating what it would cost to build the structures new today, minus depreciation, plus the value of the vacant land. It is often used for unique properties like schools or churches. Question 26. The fiduciary relationship between a listing broker and a seller ends if the seller rejects a potential offer, hires a separate attorney, withdraws the property from the market, provides financial disclosures. A fiduciary relationship is based on the agent's authority to act for the principal. If the seller withdraws the property, the purpose of the agency is cancelled, thus terminating the broker's authority and the relationship. Question 27. A lot, 50x137, at $4.50/SQFT has a 7.25% commission. What is the amount? $2,234.83, $9,545.25, $10,452.88, $16,762.14. Calculation: 50*137 equals 6,850 square feet. Total sale price equals 6,850 $4.50 equals $30,825. Commission equals $30,825 $0.0725 equals $2,234.83. This is a common three-step math problem: area-price-commission. Question 28. Who is not protected under familial status in the Fair Housing Law? Families with children under 18, pregnant women, individuals with disabilities, married couples without children. Familial status specifically protects families with children and pregnant women. While married couples without children are not a protected class under the familial status category, they are still protected against other forms of discrimination. Question 29. What does the term escheat mean in the context of real estate? Property transfer through inheritance, government takeover when no heirs exist, execution of a real estate contract, appraisal of market value. Escheat is the state's power to take ownership of property when an owner dies intestate without a will and has no legal heirs. This ensures that the property remains in use and under a clear title rather than becoming ownerless. Question 30. Property worth $72,000 is assessed at 67%. Tax is $6.50/$100 assessed. Monthly taxes are $261.30, $312, $389.76, $420.48. Calculation: $72,000 *0.67 equals $48,240, assessed value. $48,240/100 equals 482.4 units. 482.4 $6.50 equals $3,135.60, annual tax. $3,135.60/12 equals $261.30, monthly.